Okay, I am beginning part 2, and this is taking us right where we left off. Yeah, let's load this quick save. Load. Okay. Yes! Doctor. Oh gosh, the song. Guitar. I hope it's not too loud. As always, I fear the volume levels, because I can't edit it afterwards, like a fool. Oh, Dr. Tanbo Ryoko had never had a more troublesome patient. Oh, she's cute. One second. Any changes since your last visit? Nothing to speak of. His voice is hard and flat, his words tossed carelessly into the air. It's like he's speaking to himself in an empty room. Ryoko is a surgeon, not a psychiatrist, but even she can sense the thickness of the wall he's erected between himself and the world. While Sakisaka appears to be looking at Ryoko, his gaze is actually aimed at a fraction down and to the side. He's only superficially engaged in the conversation when in truth it does not interest him in the slightest. Perfect rejection. Realizing that she can't interview him like this, Ryoko sighs and sets her chart aside.
Sakisaka-san, あなたが当院で受けた処置は脳神経医学の分野では世界的に最先端の治療でした。そのことはご存知ですよね。
Experimental neurosurgery. Uh-oh. Treatment of subdural hematoma through the use of micromachines, a procedure available in Japan exclusively here at T University, had been the only way to save Sakisaka Fuminori from a cerebral contusion that should have been fatal.
最先端であるということは、まだまだデータの出揃っていない危険性の伴う治療法だったという。
Unexpected complications?
そうでしょうね。
Sakisaka Fuminori's lips twist slightly in what might be a bitter or mocking smile, but it is gone before Ryoko can discern its meaning. I'm also so sorry. This microphone is more sensitive, so my chair is going to squeak as I adjust. There we go. Okay.
普通こんなことを言って脅かすのは医者として問題なんですが、施術後に重大な脳障害をきたしたケースも報告されているんです。予後の経過には十分に注意しなければなりません。
Hence these weekly checkups, if only he would take them a little more seriously.
先週の MRI はどうでした？
MRI? Sakisaka asks abruptly as if to catch Ryoko off guard. MRI, magnetic resonance imaging, is a way for doctors to examine the brain in detail without opening the patient's skull. Surprised by Sakisaka's uncommon technical knowledge, Ryoko recalls its profile. Ah, it's just the perfect storm.
先生が心配しているような脳機能不全は画像診断だけでも十分にわかるはずですよね。何か異常はあったんですか？
いいえ。
There was nothing, not the slightest hint of abnormal activity. For a procedure with such a low rate of success, the results have been nothing short of miraculous. However, something still bothers Ryoko. She can't shake the feeling that he's hiding something beneath his guarded exterior, some terrible weight on his soul, perhaps. I mean... but if it's an inorganic problem, then there's nothing she can do as long as he refuses to explain it.
大丈夫ですよ先生。現に僕は今こうして病院の外でも何不自由なく生活しています。問題なんてないでしょ。
He sees meat people. Why is he being dishonest?
ねえ、Sakisakaさん。こういった難しい手術は予後不断が原則なんです。もう少し私たちを信用してもらえませんと。
そうですよね。僕だって先生方を信用したい。どんな相談にも乗ってもらえるんですか？
ええ、もちろん。
Ryoko answers, smiling, smiling to cover up her irritation. Saki-sasa... Wow. I'm just gonna like... Okay. Saki-saka asked exactly the same question during last week's visit.
じゃあ、先週の話の続きなんですが、先生、あれから大貝教授については何か分かりましたか？
Dr. Ogai. Unable to answer, Ryoko hardens the mask of her smile. As before, the patient is inquiring about someone whom he has no business knowing.
大貝教授のことは、あなたの治療とは何の関係もないでしょ？
信頼しろと言った矢先に、いきなり隠し事ですか？
Ryoko is used to patients treating her with hostility. Some degree of paranoia is natural when dealing with a person whose mistakes could kill you. In Saki-saka, however, she doesn't see the anxiety that other patients exhibit. His demeanor is perfectly calm, almost like a detective questioning a suspect.
何分、だいぶ前にここを辞められた方ですからね。
辞めた理由はご存知ない。
ええ、おそらく個人的な事情でしょうね。
Ryoko answers smoothly, her earlier hesitation gone. Having decided at the outset to lie, she has no trouble doing so with a straight face. Now I don't trust you!
それにしても、咲坂さん、なぜあなたはそんなに大貝教授にこだわるんです？
教授は今失踪中なんです。知ってましたか？
いいえ。
Ryoko realizes that her answer may have been a little too quick. She should have acted more surprised.
近頃教授の身内の人間と恋にしていましたね。その人から調査を頼まれているんです。
A relative. Ryoko considers this with a frown. Is she evil?
大貝教授に縁者の方はおられないはずですが。
おお、誰から聞きました？
それは噂話に。
Ryoko replies, remembering that she just claimed to have had no contact with the man.
なるほど。そんなことが噂になる程度には、大貝教授は
まあ一風変わった人だったみたいですね。
なのに、誰も彼が大学を辞めた理由を知らないと。
Ryoko falls silent, knowing that this isn't a topic she can brush away with a smile. Saki-saka seems to have finally grasped her mood, however, as a strangely stiff tone softens a little.
先生、僕はどうしても大貝教授に会わなきゃならないんです。彼がいなくなったせいで、行く当てがなくなり困っている子がいるんです。
それはむしろ警察の領分なんじゃないかしら。
Although she makes it sound like the most obvious thing in the world, the suggestion is actually a gamble. If Ogai Masahiko's disappearance becomes a police matter, then the university will be investigated. Everyone who is involved in the incident will be at risk of exposure. I'm slapping my desk. What is this? And of course it includes Ryoko herself. She knows, however, that Saki-saka is unlikely to go to the police. First of all, his excuse is obviously a lie. They already made sure that Ogai had no relative who might come looking for him, which is why they could bury the truth of what happened. Okay. I just gotta keep reading. Just gotta keep going. Just gotta hold my tongue. But then, how did Saki-saka, a mere patient, learn about Ogai?
Saki-saka-san, 私の知っている範囲のことは喜んでお教えします。ですが、大貝教授は今年の4月に辞表を出して、以後は何の音信もないんです。どこか長期の旅行にでも行かれたか。
そうですか。
Expecting resistance, Ryoko is surprised when Saki-saka backs down. She's still worried about his condition, and the mysterious link between him and Ogai is only making her more uneasy. But as long as he doesn't open up to her, there's nothing she can do. After a brief pause, Ryoko writes progress good on Saki-saka's chart for today.
Saki-saka-san, それでは来週の診察ですが、今日と同じ4時でも。
Before she can finish, Saki-saka is gone. Ah, yes, the meat hallway. It looks like someone sprayed the wall with pig guts from ceiling to floor. I mean, it's a little more intricate than that, but I suppose it's one way to describe it. What color should the walls of the hospital be? White, of course. Into the creatures of rotten flesh shambling around me, I'm sure this hallway looks just as white as it should. I know intellectually that the halls are white. I know that the flesh beasts are really human. I'm the one with the problem, and it's because I've accepted this that I'm able to lead something approaching a normal life. Even if my university's medical department is nowhere near as good as T University's, I'm still a medical student specializing in neurology. I have a basic idea of what has happened to me, though it's hard to believe. This isn't a pathological condition. It's probably some form of agnosia, unlike anything that has ever been studied before. I need to look up the word agnosia, but I can't edit this out. I have to do that later. I'm gonna write that down. Agnosia, okay. The flesh beast, called Tambo Ryoko, had said that other patients had developed neurological disorders after receiving the same treatment I did. So I guess I'm just another failure. That makes me want to laugh in that know-it-all doctor's face. That said, I don't blame the doctors who operated on me. After all, I do owe them my life. I know as well as anyone how low the chance of success was, and that I had no other hope of survival. I was unlucky, that's all there is to it. The point is that my condition isn't treatable. Just like someone adapting to a hearing aid or wheelchair, I have no choice but to adapt to this nauseating scenery. Of course it's hard. It wasn't easy to resign myself to this fate. But now there's more than just despair. Even for me, there is a glimmer of hope. Keeping my eyes on my feet, I hurry home. Ruh-roh. I live in a quiet suburban neighborhood in a house that's too large for me alone. My parents, even unluckier than I was, died in the accident 3 months ago. I couldn't even go to the funeral for being in intensive care. I had to sell my father's business, but at least that left me with a house and enough money to live on for a while. Of course I'm sad, but the accident took more from me than my parents. In fact, being on my own has probably saved me. If they were still alive, my parents would never have allowed me to live with some strange girl. Oh no. As I open the door, the bright voice greets me from the kitchen. The voice is beautiful and clear as a bell. Human. It sounds... it's sweet. I'm like anxious. Its sweet sound washes the day's cacophony from my memory. Even the patter of feet coming down the hallway is music to my ears. Nowhere else in the city can I hear such footsteps. Only in this house with Saya am I so privileged. Oh, I'm scared. This music is unsettling as well. In her smile and the inquisitive tilt of her head is everything that I have lost. Since my accident, this girl is the only person I've met, perhaps the only person in the entire world that does not trigger my cognitive disorder. Is she real? True, her skin seems too white and the color of her eyes and hair is probably different in reality, but even so, her form is undeniably human. I don't trust like this. And it's not just her appearance and her voice either. As I bend down to take off my shoes, Saya wraps her arms around my neck and pulls me gently into her chest. Her skin feels truly human, not cold or slimy, and her hair wafts a sweet feminine fragrance. In all the world, only Saya is pleasing to my five senses. And what's more, she smiles at me, embraces me. She knows that she is my salvation, and for some reason is happy that I need her. If I had not met Saya, if I had been all alone in this twisted, filth-ridden world, I would no doubt have succumbed to madness. It is no exaggeration to say that Saya alone is keeping me alive. Oh, she's an artist.
Fuminoriの晩ご飯作ってるの。
そうか。楽しみ。
もうちょっと時間かかりそうなの。待っててくれる？
You know what?
じゃあ、僕は今の続きをやってる。
After I see the humming Saya off to the kitchen, I step into the living room. Oh! Different colors. I realized one day that if the natural colors of this world were sickening, all I had to do was paint over them with colors that seemed pleasant. I went to the hardware store and bought every color of paint I could find, and Saya and I tried different combinations until we found one that worked. After painting the bedroom from ceiling to floor, I was finally able to get my first good night's sleep since the accident. I really want to see what this looks like in reality, because just a house covered in paint. When we first started living in the living room, Saya, unsure what to do with the curtains, just painted carefully around the windows. Without a moment's hesitation, I tore the curtains down and painted over the glass itself. Yeah, that's gonna be interesting to see in reality. There'll never be anything out there that I want to see, and as long as we keep the storm shutters closed, the neighbors probably won't think anything of it.
ご飯できたよ。
こっちで食べよう。持ってきてくれるか?
As she enters the living room with a tray of food, Saya sniffs the air.
ペンキの匂い。平気？
Now that she mentions it, I suppose the smell of paint thinner must be building up in this closed room. It really doesn't really bother me though. There are far worse smells outside.
さやは嫌いかい?
平気。
Hmm.
海のりが大丈夫ならいい。
Saya sets the food on the table. Unfortunately, neither its color nor its smell is at all appetizing. Not that food elsewhere is any different.
いただきます.
Itadakimasu. As has become routine, I steel myself and methodically transport the food into my mouth. The taste is as gut-wrenching as I expected, but it's not Saya's fault. I'm sure she made it exactly like the cooking show said. It's just that my taste buds can't accept it.
美味しくない？
She asks hesitantly.
まあね。
Lying won't make Saya happy. She knows about my condition.
気にしないで。明日はまた別のものを作ってあげるから。
She's trying.
ごめんな、いつも。せっかく作ってくれたのに。
いいのよ。こうやっていろいろ試していけば、いつかふみのりでも美味しく食べられるメニューが見つかるかもしれないじゃない。
In my current state, eating is nothing more than an unwelcome duty. As much as I hate it, I need food to survive. If I stay alive, then perhaps one day, as Saya says, I'll be able to taste something delicious again. I'm so confused. I met Saya, didn't I? I don't trust this.
さやは食べないの?
私はもう済ましたから。
Suspicious. In all the time we've been together, Saya has never once eaten with me. I don't know why she refuses to do so. It makes me a little sad. Still, I'm not about to push the issue, not when she's putting up with all the problems I have. Maybe you should push the issue.
今日もう一度病院で君のお父さんのこと聞いてみた。
パパの？
Mr. Ogai Masahiko is Saya's father and her only living relative. Saya has asked me to unravel the mystery of his disappearance.
やっぱり何も教えてくれない。何か隠している雰囲気なんだが。
そう。
I expected Saya to be a little more disappointed.
心配じゃないのかい？お父さんのこと。
そういうわけじゃないの。
Saya responds with an unreadable expression. She gives a little shake of her head and smiles at me once again.
ありがとう、海のり。私のためにいろいろと。
君はそれ以上のことを僕のためにしてくれるんだ。
I thank her for the meal and set my chopsticks down next to the perfectly clean plate. As wretched as the taste was, thinking of the care that Saya put into it gave me the strength to finish every bite.
じゃあ、お風呂にする？
また背中流してくれるか?
Ruh-roh. Ever since Saya moved in, it's been like having my own wife. Oh no. Saya. Why are you so good to me? Is this truly what you want? What am I that you can give yourself to me, body and soul? Is this merely sympathy? Do you pity me for the exile from a society? Is that enough for you to surrender yourself to such mad desire? Are you so wanton? Did we just skip a scene? Saya is here. She is with me now. Only in this moment is her existence certain. Only when I am joined with her can I believe. No matter what cruel fate might await me, Saya, there is nothing I fear more than losing you.
Fuminori, 泣いてるの?
Okay, I feel like we just skipped a scene. I realize my cheeks are wet with tears. But it's a little disjointed if we did skip a scene.
Fuminori.
わからないんだ。わからないのに僕だけがどんどん君に惹かれていく。君なしちゃ耐えられなくなっていく。
I wrap my arms tighter around her, praying that our bodies will melt together and never again be apart.
教えてくれ。どうすれば君を失わずにいられる。
Okay, so a scene definitely got skipped.
どうやって君に報いればいい?
Yep.
こうやって抱いていて。
Saya whispers into my chest.
みのりに抱いてもらうの大好き。だから私は海のりから離れたりしない。
なぜ僕なんだ?
それはね、海のりが
Because you're all alone.
一人ぼっちだから。
She says, softly gazing up into my eyes. Sorry, I'm distracted.
それはさやも一人ぼっちだったから。
This is... The sorrow in her voice resonates with my own. There is a deep loneliness in her eyes, a loneliness from which now springs boundless affection. Ruh-roh.
だからさやにも海のりしかいないの。 こ
Hmm.
の世でただ一人だけ私を抱きしめてくれる大好きな海のり。
These are yonder words. Now I know. No matter what horrors this world unleashes upon me, all I'll ever need is Saya. Oh no. Okay, that's... I just need to, like, expunge a few thoughts. Interesting. Good, confusing conflict. Also, hilariously obvious, skipped H scene. I just need to, like, process what just happened. Okay. I also find the perspective really interesting. How we go between the meat world and the non-meat world as we assume the protagonist, and then we don't assume the protagonist. Okay, anyways. Yo is determined to talk to him today. Nothing will happen as long as she hesitates. It will only prolong her suffering. The time has come to show courage once again. Yo is the not girlfriend, the confession person. Yo's fourth period on Thursdays is biology. This is her one chance to see Fuminori. Why are you drawn like this? As required course with many students, the lecture is held in a large hall that can seat well over 200. But since the room is usually only half full, it is difficult for Yo to find the seat she wants. Yo prefers to sit near the center, where it is easiest to hear the professor. Most of the students congregate in this area for the same reason. Fuminori usually sits beside her, although given the ambiguous state of their relationship, she knows better than to take this for granted. Still, she tries to save a seat whenever possible. The classroom isn't crowded today, so Yo is able to set her bag on the seat next to her without inconveniencing anyone. But when the professor arrives at the usual time to start class, there is no sign of Fuminori. After waiting for about 10 minutes, Yo scans the room furtively. Fuminori is there, sitting alone in the far back corner. Did he miss Yo when he came in? No, he couldn't have, and besides, no serious student would willingly sit so far away from the front. Does he know the difference between the meat piles? Feeling miserable, Yo slides her bag back over to herself. Fuminori's out the door the moment the class ends. Yo barely manages to catch up to him before he disappears down the hallway. I'm entertained that the translation says Fuminori, but she clearly is like Sakisaka-san. Anyways, Fuminori jerks at the sound of his name. You would think she just screamed at him. Ah, he looks so mad. He turns to her and asks reluctantly. Now that they are face to face, Yo is painfully aware of how much weight Fuminori has lost. His sunken eyes and protruding cheekbones are a far cry from the features familiar to her. She wonders whether he's under a lot of stress or perhaps not getting enough nutrition. Maybe it's both. He definitely looks more tense than he should, afraid even, though, of what she can't imagine. His eyes move restlessly from point to point, and he refuses to look. He refuses to look Yo in the eye. Okay, there we go. It hurts to see Fuminori this way. What could have changed him so? Today, she reminds herself, rekindling the flame of courage in her heart. Oh no. Uh-oh. The courtyard is empty and silent. No one is willing to sit and chat in the cold November air. Don't you remember? Yo almost blurts the question, but manages to keep her composure. He smiles like it's nothing, but even that seems forced. He's even standing precisely one pace further away from her than he used to. Be nice to the meat friends. Yo manages to keep from flinching at the harshness of his tone. Rather than answer, Fuminori grinds his toe into the dead grass at his feet. Fearing that her determination might flag, Yo lets the words come as they may. You don't deserve him. Fuminori mutters through clenched teeth, no longer trying to deny it or change the topic. There is an even clearer signal of rejection than his prior evasiveness. But Yo's determination is strong. Today, at least, she won't back down. She implores, trying to convey the sincerity of her feelings for him. You need your friends. I love her. Yo can no longer stop the words pouring from her lips. She fears that if she does not unleash her feelings now, they will be lost forever. He's been blessed with the meat monsters. He doesn't... Like, if he were actually adapting, then this would be sweet. Like, he can understand her. Why is he so mean? Fuminori shouts, silencing Yo's entreaty. She promised herself that she wouldn't back down, but Fuminori's expression is terrible enough to shatter her resolve. The look in his eyes is not anger or any other warm-blooded emotion. It is hate. Murderously cold hate. Uh-oh. Oh no. He remembers. He remembers, and still he has treated her so coldly. That is all the answer she needs. If his words stab any deeper, she might very well die.
とりわけ特別に意識したことなんてなかった。
You jerk.
君に好意を持たれてもどう接すればいいのか迷ってた。
Then why wouldn't you just be direct about it?
僕が君のことどう思ってるのか正直な気持ちが自分でもわからなかったから。
咲坂さん。
でもね、今ではもうはっきりと答えが出てる。あれか筑波さん、僕はあんたのことが大嫌いだ。顔も見たくない。
Oh, this is so bad. Don't cry, Yo tells herself, but too late to stop the tears pouring from her eyes.
もう二度と会いたくないっていうのは無理だね。同じ学校に通ってるんだし。
What I'm so mad.
今後は僕に声をかけないでくれないか。目障りなんだよ、つくづく。
Yo whispers in shock and despair. Oh, he's mean. Which Fuminori twists his lips into a malevolent smile.
君さ、少しは頭を冷やした方が良かったんだよ。
Jesus.
どうせ大宮浩二にけしかけられてその気になってただけなんだろ。
I don't like being this character.
自分一人でのぼせてる分には勝手だけどさ、他人を巻き込むなって言うんだ。
That's all Yo can take. After shedding tears in front of him, she absolutely refuses to let him hear her cry. Any disgrace would be preferable to breaking down here. So she runs, fleeing breathlessly from the courtyard with Fuminori's cold smile at her back. I want to see what the meat looks like running. Omi was the first to catch sight of Yo and Fuminori leaving for the courtyard. Reluctant to interrupt them, but still unwilling to leave them alone, she and Koji ended up watching the whole thing from the shadows. Yeah, that's about right. Throughout the exchange, Omi was clearly itching to jump out and punch Fuminori in the face. Knowing her temper, Koji kept firm hold of her arm until the end. If he hadn't, she might very well have done it. I think Koji should have let her go. Fuminori leads after Yo, his every step seeming to take an act of willpower. Koji sighs heavily into the once more empty courtyard, but the bitter taste in his mouth will not go away. Even Koji cannot forgive Fuminori's treatment of Yo. However, the first thing that he feels is confusion, not anger. I mean, I don't know these characters, so I'm angry. Koji has known Fuminori since before college. Fuminori was never this cruel before. There's no question now that the accident changed him.
ねえ、コージ。このまま
放っておきたくないにしたって、俺たちに何ができる？
覗き見よりマシなことよ。
Omi shouts, her face red with fury.
私、咲坂君に一言言ってやらなきゃ気が済まないわ。
Fight.
それで筑波の気が晴れるってもんでもないだろうに。
Tsukuba.
だったら私の気だけでも晴らすわよ。
Yo and Omi are best friends, just like Koji and Fuminori. In fact, it was the relationship between Koji and Omi that brought the other two together. Omi's anger is only natural.
私、咲坂君と二人だけで話してみたいわ。コージはついてこなくてもいいから。
本気かよ。
その代わり、ヨのことを見ていてあげて。あの子、多分心底傷ついてるから。泣き終わった後で誰かの優しさが必要になると思う。
I really hope that's not a recipe for disaster.
なあ、それって俺とお前の役回りが逆じゃないのか？
That's kind of my fear.
私みたいな性格だとね、慰め役は無理。励ますつもりで余計に傷跡広げちゃうのがオチなのよ。
なるほど、納得いった。
あ、嫌な言い方。
じゃあまあ、そっちはほどほどにしとけよな。
Ending the conversation before Omi's mood gets any worse, Koji heads off to find Yo. And we're back in the meat zone. I feel awful, miserable, but also refreshed. I finally crossed the line. I knew it would come crashing down like this sooner or later. having become unable to feel anything but disgust for other people, there was no way I could hope to maintain the relationship I'd had before the accident. Today's incident will definitely get back to Koji and Omi, and everyone will be convinced that I've had a major change of character. Honestly, I don't care anymore. At least I probably won't be committed for this. I just need to avoid acting any stranger than I already have. If this puts a rift between me and the others, good. The thought of all the stress I'll avoid brings a smile to my lips. I'm fed up with them sticking their noses into my life. It's like they don't care that they make my gut turn just by being near me. I've been terrified of them up until now, but today I struck fear into one of them. That, in that sense, something of a relief. But I'm not entirely without remorse for what happened. The person I just demolished with the verbal equivalent of a nuclear bomb used to be my friend Yo. Even if my senses don't believe it, my mind accepts the theory. I don't have any particular grudge against Yo herself, and I didn't want to hurt her. In retrospect, perhaps I should have just ignored her outright. Yo was an attractive girl. I certainly didn't think badly of her. To be honest, though, I was annoyed when Koji and Omi tried to stick us together. It felt like they were using us as entertainment, and Yo seemed totally oblivious to the fact that she was dancing to their tune. Her closeness was irritating. Then why didn't you just be forthright about issues? Still, I knew that none of them meant any harm. Back then, I didn't have any reason to hurt others just to get my way. If having a casual relationship with Yo would keep our circle of friends together, I was willing to make that compromise. That's not how life works. Don't do that. Now, however, there is no room in my heart for such forbearance. If merely talking to someone is an ordeal, how can I be expected to show them kindness? These ruminations have left me exhausted. I want to return to Saya as soon as possible, but thinking about the packed trains and the crowded downtown streets between here and home saps my spirit. Catching sight of a nearby bench, I sit down and close my eyes to the horrors of the world. I can't do anything about the stink or the noise, but at least I can calm my nerves enough to rest. Oh, he's gonna get you. Are we back to the real world? Nope. When I regained consciousness in the T University Hospital ward, the world was as dark as it is now. I had not yet recovered my sight, even though my eyes and optical nerves were undamaged. The fact that he's a medical student kind of explains some of the phrasing in these sentences. It must have been an after effect of the accident. Blindness was a shock, but now I know that my suffering then was nothing. After all, my sense of hearing, taste, touch, and smell were all fine at the time. The real horror began when my sight returned. One small mercy was that I was able to come to terms with the accident and my neurosurgery while still blind. I panicked when I first saw the nightmarish hospital and the blood-curdling shapes of the doctors and nurses, but soon I guessed the cause. It chills me to think of what might have happened if I had recovered my sight along with my consciousness. Wait, what? My sight along with my consciousness. Oh, okay. Suddenly awakening in what can only be described as hell, I would have no doubt lost my mind instantly. Soon my disorder spread to the senses of touch, taste, and smell. As it turns out, sight exerts tremendous influence over the other four. The taste of my food, the feel of my bedsheets, the fragrance of my get-well-flowers all became as unbearably foul as my eyes said that they should be. I wonder if he could just blind himself and then fix it. Eventually, when even the doctor's voices became unrecognizable as human, I decided to kill myself. I didn't believe for a second that I could live in this new world. At least not until I met Saya. Uh-oh. One night, while thinking of a painless way to die, I found myself succumbing to sleep. Drifting between the nightmares in my dreams and the nightmare of reality, I didn't notice her enter my room. The next thing I knew, there was a face staring down at me from next to my bed. The face was not covered in pus or slime or earthworm-like feelers. It had smooth white cheeks, round eyes, a lovely little nose, all things I had never expected to see again. The face was that of a girl, undeniably human and positively glowing with beauty. I sighed in admiration, savoring the first peace and joy since regaining my sight. She had not expected such a reaction, apparently.
怖くないの？私のこと。
Oh? Looking at the clock, I saw that it was exactly 3 in the morning, no time for a young girl to be alone in the hospital. Perhaps she expected me to mistake her for a ghost. But I would not have cared if she had been a ghost. Either way, she was a godsend.
誰だい？なぜここに？
She said you're not afraid of me. What are you?
私はサヤ。パパのこと探しに来たの。
I assumed that she was the daughter of the late shift doctor or another patient. It was unusual but not unthinkable for such a girl to be wandering around the hospital.
あなた、怖がらないんじゃつまらない。
It's no fun if you're not scared.
ちょっと。
What? I cried, desperate to keep her from leaving. It was only after she turned around that I realized I hadn't thought of what to say next.
何？
Why do we need to be afraid of her? Her beautiful eyes drew me in, healing my soul to its core. Through the white haze clouding my mind, I struggled to form a coherent sentence.
女の子にお願いしていいことじゃないんだが、今は君にしか頼めない。
No longer concerned with propriety, I let the words come as they willed.
手を握らせてもらえないだろうか。
Oh no. Saya looked confused at first, but then she smiled like she'd just found a new toy. Oh. Her smile was brighter than my memories of the sun.
変な人。そんなこと言い出したの、あなたが初めて。
She said, holding out her slender white hand. Ever so carefully, as though catching snowflakes, I placed my palm against hers. I could feel her human warmth and the softness of her delicate fingers. She was there, just beyond the palm of my hand. Thinking back on the joyful tears I shed then, I know that this is the moment I was saved from my fate.
この半月の間に初めて人に触れた。人だと感じられる体に。
は？
他の人じゃダメなんだ。僕事故に遭って、その後遺症らしいんだけど、人が人の姿に見えないんだよ。
本当に不思議な人。あなたって面白い。明日の夜
She
も
said,
また来ていい？
winding her fingers gently around mine.
あ、そりゃもういいのかい？君はそんなことをして。
大丈夫よ。夜は私のものだから。
The night belongs to me. And so our rendezvous began. Saya came to my room every night at 3 a.m., skillfully taking advantage of the duty nurse's shift change. I was astonished to learn that she was living inside the hospital.
これだけ広いと隠れる場所には事欠かないから。
She said, answering my surprise with a nonchalant smile. She had been living in the suburbs with her father, she told me, until one day he'd stopped coming home. After she had tired of waiting, Saya had decided one night to sneak into the hospital where he worked. And there she lived for 2 months. Over 2 months, searching for his whereabouts all the while.
学校には行かなくていいのかい？
いいの。勉強は全部パパに教えてもらったから。サヤはとっても頭がいいんだよ。
She was a strange girl. On the one hand, she looked and acted like a child. On the other hand, she was remarkably self-reliant and at times exhibited a sharp intelligence and deep knowledge that many may have found unsettling. I didn't care. Saya was the only other human in the world gone mad. Her existence meant far more to me than the standards of society.
危なくないのか？見つかりそうになったことは？
全然平気。ここにいれば食べるものにも不自由しないし、パパのうちに一人ぼっちでいるよりもずっと楽しいよ。
I don't have to worry about food here. Food is a common theme. What do you eat?
入院してる患者さんたちのうち、ちょっと精神的に参ってそうな人を事前にチェックしといてね。
Mental problems. Patient list. Grinning mischievously.
時々部屋に真夜中に忍び込んで 脅かしたりするの。その人が大騒ぎしても、そういう患者さんの言うことはみんな真に受けたりしないから。
Oh, she's a little fucked up.
結局は悪い夢ってことで片付けられちゃうし。
Her confession reminded me that the hospital was famous for its ghost stories. Who could have imagined that there was actually a real girl impishly roaming these hallways?
じゃあ僕も最初はそのつもりで。
うん。ごめんね。怒った？
While her pranks were hardly praiseworthy, I couldn't bring myself to scold her for the very thing that had brought us together.
もうやらない方がいい。その代わり夜は僕の話し相手になってくれないか。
Huh.
さやもその方が楽しい。
Okay, then my guess is probably wrong. Ruh-roh. With extreme care, I was able to conceal my sensory disorder. Sorry, I'm just like looking at the meat pile. It's pretty art, anyways. It was glaringly obvious that the doctors had no way to cure me, and the fact that I had undergone a still experimental procedure made me even more cautious. As a medical student, it was easy for me to imagine how the doctors would react if they discovered that I was exhibiting such unusual side effects. I was not about to become a guinea pig, a mere specimen to be examined with clinical detachment. And so I hid my discomfort and loathing behind a mask of normalcy, convincing the doctors that any signs of stress were merely a result of hospitalization. Saya was my support, and looking forward to her nightly visits gave me the strength to endure my daily torture. Hope can make an enormous difference in a patient's progress. With the aid of my secret nurse, I recovered at a pace that left doctors stunned. On the last night before my release, I summoned my courage and asked her,
君はこれからもずっとこの病院に居続けるのかい？
うん。結局パパの手がかりはなかったけど、もう他にいるところもないし、バレそうになるまではいいかなって。
In other words, there was nothing keeping her there.
よかったら僕の家に来ないか？
Why not stay with me? I asked timidly. The question took all the courage that I had.
家族はもういないから部屋はいくらでも余ってる。人目を忍ぶような必要もないし、住み心地もそんなに悪くないんじゃないかと。
ずっとふみのりと一緒に暮らすの？
Her expression doesn't look happy. I was too afraid to ask her what she thought of that, so I hastily offered a deal.
君の父さんのことは代わりに僕が探してあげる。約束するよ。必ず居場所を見つけてみせる。
難しいと思うよ。
It's gonna be hard. Saya said, looking a little embarrassed.
多分パパ、何か悪いことをしてこの病院を辞めたんだと思う。だから警察とかは困るの。なるべくこっそりと探さなきゃいけないし。
This is so sus.
頑張るよ。どんなことだってやる。僕は。
Unable to control myself, I finally spoke the truth.
さやと離れたくないんだ。
Uh-oh. At first she looked bewildered, but after a few moments of silence she said,
少しだけ考えさせて。
That night she left my room earlier than usual. On the day of my release, I managed to smile as I accepted the hideous, foul-smelling celebratory bouquet. The flesh beasts, calling themselves Koji, Omi, and Yo, came to pick me up. Though they had come to see me many times during my stay, it never got easier to see my friends change so horribly. My sudden tears of desperation drew suspicion, but I managed to explain them away as tears of joy. While we walked to Koji's car, I looked desperately for Saya amid the grotesque scenery. Even as we drove away, I kept watching the hospital fade into the distance, praying for the last glimmer of hope. But Saya never appeared. After Koji and the others dropped me off, I paused a while to regard my surroundings. I lived my entire life on this block in this house. There was no other place that I could call home. But nothing was as I remembered. As I walked up the path to the front door and took in the yard where I had spent my childhood, I could feel those memories being defiled by the twisted, festering shapes around me. Inside the house, I found nothing familiar, nothing to offer me comfort and warmth. What I had once called home was now a whole other world. I whispered with a smile of self-pity. There was one last stop to make, one last nail to hammer into my coffin. I stepped into the room that had cradled me from childhood. The walls were papered with human entrails, the bed a tangled mass of worm flesh. But none of that mattered. There, curled up on the bed like an abandoned cat, was Saya. As I stood there in shock, she looked up at me in a tiny, weak voice and said, "Ah, don't do this to me." I responded by sweeping her into my arms, embracing her tightly so that she would not escape. Saya did not resist. Okay, I'm going to save here, because this is a longer episode. But yeah, that was interesting. Okay, until I do this again, but I'm really curious about what's happening. However, I'm not liking Fuminori right now. He's not a redeemable character, but that's fine. We can't always have good characters, and I know that really well. Saya is sus. I wonder what she is. Why is she human? Why is she... I don't know. Next time.